Hey, welcome back to the podcast. So today you are going to want to watch this podcast because the Washoe County Assessor just sent out one of the most consequential documents for taxes for your property. And if you're not paying attention, you could be like our clients, several of our clients that have fallen into paying 8% on their property taxes higher every year than the typical 3%. So, once again, my name is Ken Aggs, Team Leader, Thanks Real Estate Team. We're here with Stephanie Hanna with Omega Mortgage Group.
Yep. OMG.
She's fresh to the podcast. We work together on transactions. Very knowledgeable. She sent me an email. We're on each other's, I think, mailing list, and she talked about one of my favorite topics. So I'm like, wow. Bring her in, let's talk about it. But today we're talking about the 2025-2026 property tax cap claim form.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about this form. It just came out in April.
Yes.
Give me like your 2-minute overview on what this form is and why it's so important.
Yeah. Let me get on my soapbox. This is one of my hot topics.
So she actually, what impressed us is she contacts all of her buyers when they close and says, you better be signing this, better be making sure you're in the low cap.
Yes.
So let's talk about the form.
Yeah, what this is, this tax cap claim form is a document that you have to fill out and send back to your county assessor that states whether or not the house is a primary residence or a rental. And if it's a rental, you put on there how much you're renting it for, or if you're letting a family member live rent-free. And the implications of this form are, if it's a primary residence, your property taxes are capped at going up 3% per year.
Okay.
If it's an investment property and you're getting like market rents, right, your taxes are going to be capped at 8% per year, which over time can definitely make a huge difference. And the thing is, if you don't fill out this form, either online or mail it back to the assessor, they are going to make the assumption that the house is an investment property. So your taxes default to an 8% cap unless you are really proactive and let the assessor know that this is a primary residence.
Yeah, so that's the consequence of not paying attention.
Yep.
And it's a form that's it comes out like in the middle when people are busy with spring stuff, people throw it away.
Well, people who buy new homes, you get a ton of junk mail telling you to buy life insurance, your home warranty, your this, your that. And so this letter you can take a look at and sort of just toss aside, I'll get to it later. You don't want to get to this later.
All right, so you get this form, you check the little box. It has the ability, this is my personal one for one of our rentals. You can actually file it online, which is nice. It has a little code.
Yep.
And then you go in there and you check the box that applies to you. Now, if it's your primary residence, you simply what? You check the box and what?
And you send it in.
Send it in.
Or you hit submit online. But then I always recommend that after July 1st, so July 1st is when the new tax year starts for here in Nevada, because that's the fiscal year, starts July 1.
Yep.
And so I recommend you going back in and checking and make sure they got this form and they updated your information so that when your new tax bill comes out, which will be towards the end of July, that you are getting taxed at the appropriate rate. It's pretty easy to actually check.
Yeah, so I can talk about that. So you just go to the Washoe County Assessor's website. You type in your address or your name or whatever you want to do, and it brings up your property. And then what I'll do probably in this podcast is I'll do a screenshot of it and show you. And it says low cap, high cap.
Yep.
And if it's your primary residence,
it should say low cap qualified primary residence.
And I want to encourage, you don't necessarily need to be buying a new house right now to go check this. Because what we find, I find 30 to 40% of my clients are in the high cap.
Yep.
For various reasons. And it's their primary residence. I just found one recently where they were in the high cap for 25 years.
It's a long time paying higher taxes.
Well, let's do the math. 5% more every year, right?
Yep.
Times 25. So they're basically paying 100% more than their neighbor. And you can't claw it back. That's
Nope.
the unfortunate part, is that they're pretty stringent. Like, they'll give you a credit for last year, but they won't going forward.
Right.
So go check that, because we come across people a lot. And the weird thing is, I think it wasn't the transaction that we did, but I closed one last year. My client's upset. We closed in like August. It was in the high cap. And he had to live with it. They had to live with it until this year when it came back out, and then they had to call in and get it changed.
Yeah, it's whatever the property was as of July 1st of 2025.
Now, the interesting thing is that you have until June 15th to get this form in. Correct?
Yes. Yep.
Now, for rentals, it's a little bit more complicated. We're going to give you the 40,000 foot view. We both own rentals. So if you own a rental, you kind of go in here and you put the number of bedrooms, you put your monthly rent, and then it asks you if utilities are included in the rent amount. Now, I called because we pay for water, sewer, trash in some of ours, and we thought, oh, that would be included. No. So when they're talking about utilities, they're talking about power and electric bills.
Got it. Okay.
So if you as a landlord pay for, which 99% of people don't, because it's kind of regulated by the tenant. If you pay for the utilities, power and electric, then you get a stepped up amount. So you put these in on the form. On the back side, there's a link, and I'll put it in the link below where you can click on it, and it's called the Fair Housing HUD rates, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yep.
And the government does an analysis of all the different areas, and they say, hey, for a 1 bedroom, you can charge $1,000. That's the fair market. If it's 2 bedroom, 1,500, whatever it is. And if you're below that, then you can rent it and you get the low cap.
Yes.
So there is a strategy if you're renting properties. It probably, if you want to rent it out for $10 less than what the fair rate is, then you might want to do that.
Yeah, help your taxes.
Because over time, the taxes are going to stick with you, right? Over time, you're paying 8% more this year, 8% more, and it kind of builds and builds. So, but typically what my experience is that you can get a lot more for rent than the fair market because of the condition of our market.
Yes.
So you have to do a little analysis of that. What else?
I would just say too, if anyone, if you're having a hard time finding it on the assessor, I mean, really, I Google Washoe County Assessor property search. It takes me right to the page where, you can enter your name, your address, and then it'll pop up and show you everything about your house. But if you're having problems, you can reach out to me. I'm sure you can reach out to you, Ken. Give us your info and we can run that for you.
Yeah, so check that out and do it now because what is it? We're mid-May. You have only 30 more days. But check it out because I was looking for one of my clients on a house recently, and we were in Double Diamond, and we looked at 2 houses, same square footage. And the property taxes were about 30% different.
Yep.
So I'm guessing that it turned out that was a rental property. They were in the high cap, and so it makes a difference when you go sell.
Yeah, absolutely.
If your property taxes are up high, it just makes it harder to sell just because people don't want to pay that. And if they have 2 houses identical, they're going to take the one with lower taxes. So.
Yep.
So that's a wrap on the property tax cap claim form. Make sure you're in the low cap. Any last minute advice on this, or if they want to call us?
Yeah. You
can take us out. We'll take you to coffee. You can come to the office and we'll help you. I know that we do get a lot of calls from senior citizens because they're just not quite as updated with the technology. So if you want to come in, we're more than happy to help you. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm all about making sure you're paying the correct taxes.
Okay, so take a look at that. Stephanie, what's your number? If you have any mortgage questions, give her a call. What's the number?
It's 775-762-9114.
Okay. And website?
loansbystephanie.com.
And we recommend her. She does a terrific job of keeping things go smoothly, so that's who we want to work with and that's who we want to recommend.
Appreciate you having me on.
Yep. Until next time, please like our videos. Give us a thumbs up. We're going to share, so you'll see on her feed too. And the other thing is, if you want to see any other topics, there's a whole bunch of topics that we can talk about, and we're always looking for things that is the hot topic in what's going on in our area. So, till next time, you guys take care and enjoy your summer. Thanks.
Thank you.